Good afternoon, Yash.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks very much for coming down again for this wonderful session. Today's topic is to discuss about the negative energies that exist in our day-to-day life every day that we face knowingly, unknowingly, mindfully or unaware, and how they impact us and how on day-to-day life, we can do things with your help. We can understand meditation methods or things to restore back to our natural self. So this is our core topic today, and there would be no one better than you to help us, everyone, to understand how to fight and combat these negative energies in our day-to-day life. So thank you again, and let's restart this topic. So help me. My first question is about what sort of negative energies we all in general are dealing with in our day-to-day life that we are absolutely have no clue about.
Okay. Thanks for inviting me for this podcast. Before we begin, as always, I would like to, thank our ancestors because without them, we are nothing. So, to answer that question, essentially, we have to identify our energies, whether we are in the positive side or we are having any negative energies. When you're positive, you feel great, you're excited, your energy level is very high, you're always enthusiastic about your life, etc. But when you have negative energy, you're always low, you don't feel too good, sometimes your health is impacted, so therefore you feel like, don't feel like doing anything in your life. So essentially, it puts your energy level at a low level that it sometimes makes you think that you're not good for anything, right? So we should try to identify and become positive on our daily life. It is very important to stay positive in terms of our outlook, our words that we use, people whom we speak to, always have to be on a positive side. Even though the other person may talk to you in a negative manner, we should still always, talk back in a positive perspective. So it's always good to be on this energy level of positivity because that radiates towards the people that you speak to, whether you're speaking on a phone or you're speaking to them on a physical side. So it's always good that we radiate those positivity towards the other person.
So what's the difference between the negative energy? Like, there should be something very, very unique about it because, yeah, what is the difference between negative energies and the disappointments, the general daily life disappointments? How do you distinguish between both?
Okay. Disappointment comes because you always have expectations. So we should not have any expectations in our life. When we set certain goals in our life, it is a gradual process to achieve it. If you're trying to achieve something on a overnight, that is not something that's going to happen overnight. It is a gradual process. So disappointment comes in when it doesn't happen as you think it should be. But take that disappointment as a learning process. What did we do wrong? Because when we know what are the lessons from there, we take the good, we leave the bad behind. We don't need the bad coming along in the next chapter in our life. So as we learn, we forgive, and then we move on to the next part of our life. So that is how we have to move forward. But being in this world, there's always two sides of it, right? It's the good and the bad. So always we have to be on a positive side by always speaking the positive words, vibrating at a positive level, speaking the truth, being authentic to yourself, and not just copying or doing things that others are doing. First, we have to identify that the things that others are doing is not necessarily the right thing. It could be not the right way of doing it. If you do things authentically, you know, it radiates positivity towards the people who are actually looking at you or listening to your conversation, reading the content that you're posting, and even if you are speaking on an engagement, things like that. People will
So
listen to.
are you kind of suggesting that when I deviate from my own goals, when I deviate from what I really want for myself, and I try to copy others, and maybe I try to satisfy others, maybe I try to do things that make others perceive me as a better person.
Yeah.
That creates a negative experience. That creates a negative energy in me.
Yes, because you're not being your real self. Today, if you log into any social media, you see a lot of, uh, you know, postings that are asking you to just copy certain things, so that you can create your own certain funneling system, etc.
Like the perfectionism, the idealism.
Yes, yes. So essentially, you're not being in your own self. You're not radiating your creation. You're essentially picking up something that is there, and then you're just posting it out there, or speaking something that is not relevant at all to your true self. So essentially you have to be truthful, authentic, and then people value you for who you are.
At times, what I also feel, like it's also happening, when I go and I see some content on social media and then I try to imitate it. Maybe I feel like I must be that person. I must have that sort of money. I must have that sort of luxuries in life. And then consciously, on the other side also, the other part of the people, I also feel like maybe I know that this is something which is a part of idealism, and I do not need to do that. Then I, like retract back from that. But again, it somehow at the back of my mind, I build some sort of resentment that I also start, you know, even despite my choice of not following that, at the back of my mind, I'm still getting impacted with it. Will it fall into like in the category of disappointments, or will it fall into the accumulation of negative energies that I'm choosing for myself? How do you see that?
Yeah, I feel that we have to learn to detach from all these idealism that is put out there. Once we identify what they are, they doesn't speak true to your soul, you will know that this is not something that you would be doing, right? You would not follow that concept. Once you know that concept doesn't work for you, you need to move away from that. We don't need to follow the content or idealism that is put out there towards us. We should be a creator. We are a creator. We choose our destiny. So essentially, we decide by holding the reins of the chariot.
Now, how do you elaborate that for someone who's like a 9 to 5 office goer, someone who is deeply burdened down with his responsibilities of family, the social comparison. How do you advise to him um, to live in this positive zone all the time? It gets really difficult for a person like him. It might be easy for someone who has, like, say, who is not directly engaged with that sort of activity, maybe more freedom, who has built some financial freedom for himself. But how do you see, this guy, this 95 guy, going to office every day, and then uh, adopt your advice? Is it possible for him also?
Yeah,
And
it's
how?
possible if you are in a work environment. Of course, there are responsibilities that you have to do according.
Because I get a lot of questions that majority of the people actually bring back negative energies from workplaces, from workplaces, from business places, from colleagues, from the dealings with their partners,
Yeah.
in professional environments. That's a major source of negative energy distribution, I believe.
Yes. I mean, whenever you come back from home, as Hindu people, we always believe we have to wash our hands, our face, our legs. That's essentially you are cleansing out whatever negative energy that is out there. Whatever responsibility you have at the workplace or at meetings, that is part of the day-to-day life. You need to meet the expectations or meeting the goals of that company or working environment. But when you come home, you have to learn to detach from it. And of course, you have to cleanse yourself first. Taking a bath is a great way to remove that energy that exists for the day. um, because sometimes people don't come back and take a shower, right? They have to take a shower. It is important to just cleanse it off. But after that, you should just kind of relax and do a reflection for the day. It helps you to identify what were the good things that happened and what were the not so good things that happened that day. So you can take away the lessons from there, from the good things that happen, but don't have to carry the not so good things that happen to you for the day. So by carrying the burden of the bad things that happen for the day in the next day, you're essentially just carrying forward baggages that aren't good for you or for your family, right? And that creates a lot of vibration in the house, and it also affects the relationship uh, between the partners, the mother, children, father and the children, husband and wife or partners. So essentially it creates a you know a not not a good soul environment in the house. So you don't have to bring home any of your work. It's every work has to be done and completed, and let go of the thought of the work. If you keep talking about work in your house, it's not going to help you from a relationship standpoint, because that's only going to continuously stay in a different form and shape. So the energy kind of keeps shifting, from positivity to negativity, and then end up some people even fight amongst themselves, because the family is looking forward to the individual to come back home and talk something nice for the day, not talk about work all the time. So
Correct.
essentially the vibration kind of keep happening in the house.
And this guy is already coming with pre-filled with all the negative energies from the office, right? And
Yes,
that create
yes,
clash.
yeah. And then the next day he carries this, negative energy back to office again. So when he comes back, again the cycle continues. So we have to break the cycle
So
essentially.
why it becomes so difficult for most of the people, I must say, to, I mean, they know it, this advice, usually people to get this advice that, you should not carry negative energies from offices. But why it become really very difficult for most of the people to actually come out of it on daily basis?
They don't do reflection. I feel when they come back home, they don't do reflection. They're in this rat race. If you take in India, yesterday I was driving my car. There's no patience, and there was a lot of space between me and the car in the front. Someone came from the back and actually tapped on my car and said, "Move forward." But I'm already stationed and waiting for, and the traffic light is not green yet, it's still red. But he's expecting me to move forward. Where are we going to move forward? There's only a little space forward. There is no difference in that. So it shows, there's lack of patience. They don't detach from that completely. They need to come back home and do a lot of reflection in their home. By reflecting, you realize that you don't need to actually behave or do certain things that are not appropriate, right? Yeah, that is a great example yesterday. There's just little gap between me and my other car, but he's expecting me to go move forward. This is the first time I experienced that. But other than that, we also see all the time they are always in a hurry to go somewhere. But if you don't drive carefully, there's always potential for accidents, right? You should give give yourself some time to reach to the destination, whether you're driving or even your own life. There should be some time and space. So when you come home, i- if you are not doing any reflection at home, it shows they that they don't want to do that as well. Sometimes I feel that even though there is sufficient time, they wouldn't want to do it. So it is an individual accountability responsibility to actually become disciplined in their life, to give themselves the me time. I call it the me time because that is the time that you do your introspection, reflection on what's going on in your life, on a weekly basis. It's good to write down the trends. I would always prefer people to write down and reflect at least once a week. If they can't do at least daily, at least once a week, they should do some reflection and introspection. Only then they'll be able to identify what's going on in their lifestyle. If there is something that is not appropriate, they should drop that out of their life, and then only take forward what is good, and then adopt things that some learn something new to adopt to their lifestyle. We don't have to copy people. We have to be our authentic self. I'm repeating that because a lot of people tend to copy what others are doing, whether it's student, whether it's the parents, whether it's the people out there. Copying is not essential. We have to
No, even
let.
I feel, at times, this impatience that you just experienced, you mentioned, this impatience is also a result of, of our constant drive to consume things, maybe mental consumption, maybe, visual consumption, maybe eating something, maybe, the fear of missing out on something. Even at times, I feel like people are fearful of missing the fun part also. So, for example, if they're going for swimming, which is like a fun thing for them, they don't want to miss out. Like the entire hour of booking up a swimming pool. So it makes really very gross difference for them to, if I reach on time or not. How much can I consume? So this drive to constant consumption, and increased habit of consumption, increased focus on the consumption is also creating this impatience. I think.
Yeah, it's essentially,
As you said, I mean, they're not willing to write down, because write down is an activity of production. Write down is creation, and consumption is like consuming more and more,
yeah, the
receiving
consumption.
more and more things.
Yes, the consumption happens because they want to utilize the time to the maximum. Let's take that swimming pool as an example. They want to reach there on time. And let's say assume that they were given 2 hours to use the swimming pool. They don't want to be late, they want to use it. It's okay to be late and be safe at the same time,
Correct. Correct.
right? It's okay to be late and you only have 1.5 hours to use the swimming pool, and enjoy that moment. You have to be present in the moment. So, and then after, while they're swimming, they might be thinking 100 things that they have to do the next thing, go to the next place, do another thing. So essentially, they are not in the present moment completely. So
That's
whether,
what I'm saying. I mean, they're not behind experience while swimming. They're behind the amount of consumption. You know, and
yeah,
probably that is the reason that is actually results into the impatience that we see, oftentimes
yeah, they
on
push them,
road, in offices.
they're pushing themselves to the maximum, right? There are only certain things that you can do during a, because it all depends on your energy level. How much things can you get done on a day-to-day basis? There are expectations from the company out there as well. So an individual who's working, they have to give them 9 hours of their time, or 12 hours of their time, or 14 hours of their time. But there is only a certain level of energy level that a person can provide or do things from a creative standpoint. So our creativity is sometimes, impacted because we are not, uh, we have not boosted our energy level in a proper way. So when it comes to content that is posted out there, whether it's media, social media, etc., people tend to consume a lot of things. Do we really need all of that? What is so important in our day life if we don't hear what is happening on a daily basis? It is good if you don't listen to the news, your positive energy is not impacted. But if
Right,
you
right.
listen to the news on a daily basis that things are going wrong, that truly impacts your life. And that takes a toll in your life. But why do we need that? We don't need that at all. We consume what is required. When I started my journey, I essentially switched off all my social media for some time. At least for a couple of years, I kind of played, I kind of switched off, as in, like, I do not use it so much. And there were some accounts that I've also deleted them off because I felt like it was just consuming my time, my life, where I was heading in my life from a destiny standpoint. So it is good that sometimes we have to do this reflection to identify what is it that is actually consuming our time. Those are all negative energy that is coming back to us, that is affecting our daily life, that we should, whom we should become. Our life purpose is totally taken away by all this. Our life purpose is probably something else, but we are so busy in consuming all these contents that we do not have time to think about ourselves. If we give ourselves that 1 hour, 2 hour of our daily life, we'll be able to achieve a lot of things in life. Not only our life, but also making changes to other people's life as well. Because we are all here to experience and grow from here. So if we are not doing that, we are not contributing ourselves back to the society. If we are just going, earning, paying the bills, and building a home, buying plots, doing this and that with our money, we are not really helping our people in our community to grow. So when we are at work, we have to get away from all this consumption, come back home, be relaxed, have a good cup of tea or coffee, have a relaxation, and then have a family discussions, right? Family is also important, and children's education, uh, giving them guidance on their life path, all that is so important. But today, parents are also so busy that they don't have time for their children. So they send them to so many tuition, they send them to extra classes, and then the children also becomes, again, they are also in the rat race. They also become so and
Yeah,
involved in too many activities that are not necessary for
at
their.
times I really wonder, sometimes it really feels like exaggeration of giving activities to your child. So, like I always believe, there is a gap between positive experiences and negative experience, positive energy and negative energy. There is this middle portion where silence exists. And if you are giving too much activities to your children, they do not get the power of silence. And they do not get a chance to actually sit still.
Yeah, because from morning to evening, they're so busy. First, they have to get to school, and after coming back, they have to go for the next activity,
Correct.
or they go for they might go for tuitions. Tuition has become, or coaching centers, right? There's a lot of that is happening today. So they're essentially keeping them so busy that they don't have time for that, time and space to reflect on their self. Because as children, they also should be reflecting. It's not only the adults; it should be also on the children. Because These things can happen to them if they have a good foundation. When they have a good foundation, so their life will be, much more fulfilling and happy, etc. A lot of things happen because they don't have the time and space, and then they get lost in between because they are told that they have to get uh, they have to finish the exams, they have to get good grades, they have to get good degrees, go out there and get a job. But essentially the creativity part is taken away. The creativity has to continue, whether it's art, painting, or extra hobbies that we do. Those are skills basically. It is our skills that cannot be taken away from us. It remains with us. If you learn how to swim or if you learn how to cycle, it will remain with you for life. So likewise, if you learn martial arts, it is very helpful for you when you are in an adult state or when you are in a teenage state. If there is any situation that's happening, you'll be able to counter it if there is any situation happen. So he or she will be in a present moment or present situation. He or she will be able to reflect that they have learned this and they can apply it in their life. But at this time, they're just told to do this A, B, C, D thing. So therefore, they go for all these additional activities because they have to compete with their peers. Parents are competing with their peers. Children are competing with their peers. We don't need to be in competition with anybody. We just have to be who we are. We don't need to be, saying that, oh, if he's going for this game, I have to also go for this game. If he's going for swimming lessons, I also have to go to swimming lessons. It's not necessary. If it might not resonate with your soul.
Are you suggesting? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Are you suggesting that this new age of parenting, where is has turned into where you know the parents are expecting their children to do things that they want from the society,
Yes.
at the cost of not, at the cost of missing the time to build an emotional bonding with the children by giving them too much activity to do, by taking too much expectation from them, by giving them too much to engage with. Like as you said, busy. I, this constant busyness of my child, where will it leave the time for me to engage on a emotional level, on a psychological level with my child? If he's too busy and if I'm too busy,
Yeah, there is no emotional bonding at home. They are just coming home, talking certain things, and then the next day comes again in the morning. So the whole cycle continues. So there's no actual emotional, physical bonding at all that is happening. So it's just superficial at the level that people would see that, yeah, they have a family and children is going, they are succeeding in this and that. It is because they just want to get a name, but you don't have to do that. um, but if you spend that time to to reflect, become a little bit more spiritual, because you don't need, I mean, you have to have a balance between physical and spiritual, because we are both body, which is physical, the soul, which is spiritual. If you balance both, you will be able to overcome any situation in our life. We can overcome any obstacles. We will have answer for everything. Today we don't have answer because we are not reflecting, we don't have a balance in our life. So we essentially have that, the energy level of negativity is higher than the positivity that we should be radiating in our day-to-day life. So at home that bonding doesn't happen, and then there is problem that is created because they want the children to succeed, and it is imposed on them, by the parents, that maybe in the past they weren't able to achieve that. They want their children
so
to achieve
so
something.
what are the deep psychological consequences on children, of that behavior?
Yeah, at certain point the children might just break down because he or
Hmm.
she is not able to take that pressure. Because what is pressure to them, they might not even know at an early childhood time, right? When we are when they're children, they may not even know what is stress, what is anxiety, and then they end up getting trauma, dreams, which they don't know how to control it. So, these are things that we have to start identifying, and parents should be, guiding them in a proper way. They should not be putting a lot of pressure. Psychologically, children, even parents could also have a breakdown at certain point in time. So there is no need to be in any kind of competition out there. Just and don't have to be we don't have to be wealthy to be somebody.
Right.
Wealthy doesn't mean money. Today, everything is about the dollar sign or the rupee sign, um, and 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 status is all about that. Status doesn't have to be a dollar sign or a rupee sign. We just have to be who we are, and when we become who we are, we radiate that positivity. People will identify that he or she has something, and he or she can deliver at work, or he or she can become somebody in the future. Even the children, right? Even the teachers will have to pay attention to the children that are coming to school. But today they just come there, teach them modules, and then they go off. So if they spend quality time in educating the children, why is there a need for additional tuition? There is no need for additional tuition or a coaching center to even exist, right? And a lot of people go to even psychologists or counseling sessions and things like that. But if we give that time to ourselves, we'll be able to, you know, move away
So,
from that.
so how do you think, like since we are on this topic, for the children specifically, how do you think this behavior can change? But I also feel at times, um, uh, the, the, the parents are constantly under some struggle, mental struggle, social struggle. So, since the struggle, what they feel is, they don't want to maybe, deal with their children. So, which is why they give a lot of activities for their children to get busy, right? Um, on a fundamental level, someone can detach themselves from this, constant comparison on the ownership of the money and the possessions. How can you, at the same time, be detached from this constant race of looking rich, looking, the constant accumulation, and on the same time, you can also still progress financially also, right? Like you progress financially, but how can you get out of this race, the mentality of race? Because until otherwise, the parents slow down into their mind, the same reflections will not happen on the children also.
Yeah. See, when we identify that we are in the competition race, we have to detach ourselves physically and emotionally. How do we do that? Of course, meditation helps us to actually help us detach from it. But certain positive affirmation also help us to, get away from this rat race. We don't need to be in that competition. So essentially, when you do meditation and affirmations on a daily basis, it will help you to see the truth. It will help you to see that you are actually just being in the rat race. You're not, you don't. So it kind of take you away from being in that rat race on a daily basis. So by saying certain affirmation, it will help you to get out of it quickly. And of course, prayers help. We can also chant mantras or listen to the mantras that will help you break away from all these negativity that is around us. I think that children should also be given this foundational education from beginning. It's not just the school education; they should also have our, um, you know, I would say spiritual education a little bit,
Correct.
because
I was about to
today
say that.
they don't even want to speak in their own languages in some places, right? They have to be taught the mother tongue. That if let's say your wife, for example, your mother tongue is probably, if it is Hindi, then yes, Hindi. But my mother tongue, my mother's mother tongue was Tamil. So I learned how to speak in Tamil. So I will not give up that perspective. And in today's environment, they all speak in different languages. When we come in a common ground, we are speaking in English because we have to communicate to the world. Because we can, we do have opportunity to translate and put it in different languages. But language is one thing, and the other thing is the traditional education, the rituals, the mouth to mouth generational traditions that is passed on from our great grandparents and before that, our ancestors, tradition. We have to continuously understand these traditions because they're not just there for us to just envy them or just follow because we have to follow it. No, there is something that is, I wouldn't want to use the word science. The rituals actually help us to keep us grounded, being having a foundation of who we are. If we do away from our tradition, who is going to carry that for us? Who is going to
Right.
carry that dharma, right? We have to carry that. If not us, who will carry that? So I would call it like a spiritual inheritance. It is time that parents, children, people of all walks of life to claim our own spiritual inheritance that has existed, is existing, and it will exist. We have to claim that. And with that foundation, the physical gets just on a positive side. We don't have to worry about it. When our spiritual foundation is good, our physical foundation is also becomes good. Because when we learn about all these traditions, scriptures, mantras, it help us to ground us. So what I mean by grounding is it help us to identify any errors in our life. What are the things that we're doing wrong? Why are we doing this incorrectly? Why are we just following the mass? Why do we have to just consume all of these contents? Why do we have to just listen to other people, which doesn't make sense to us? You don't need to. You just have to. That is how we start to then learn to detach from each one of these elements that exist out there, whether it's media, whether it's people, whether it's your relative, your own family members, etc. We have to start identifying, and of course, we have to help them also, grow along with it. So, hope that answered.
So that then there are then people who will say, they don't have time for meditation because as I can recall, this is what you advised to restore on a daily basis. Meditation is a great tool. What's advice to those people who say they don't have time? Those parents who know the consequences of their constant struggle, their constant behavior that like their child, their families, but they say they don't have time. And because what I feel is, this entire thought that you don't have time to live, to breathe, uh, in my opinion, creates very slow and unaware accumulation of negative energies, negativity in you throughout your lifetime, which sometime in future go and burst in form of a disease or maybe a total mental breakdown. How do you see that?
Yeah, if you just take the recent pandemic lockdown, people, didn't know what to do. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of emotional issues. There was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of stress. People who said they didn't have time, maybe just passed on because they didn't give time to themselves. If they give time to themselves, if they have contributed or become disciplined in their life to give time to spirituality a little bit, it helps them in the long run. People want quick answer. They want to just achieve something on a day-to-day basis, but they're not thinking in the long term. When your foundation is there, it is there forever. It is not just in this world, but it's there even after you leave this body. Because we are soul, we are spiritual, so it passes on. So on just to from a physical standpoint, yeah, when someone says no time, that's it. His time is is finished. Time is what you make of it. You have to
Right.
give time. Even if it's 15 minutes, 10 minutes,
Maybe it's more of a matter of priority, what you prioritize,
take
because
time.
everything that you prioritize, you make time for that.
I'll tell you why this priority has become that. Because the content that is put out there today is everybody has to become a millionaire. Everybody has to become a crorepati. Everybody has to earn money. Buy this, buy that, buy this plot, buy this home. Keep earning. But then you're not enjoying your present moment. You're just collecting for the future, but you're not enjoying it in the present moment. If you see the villagers, the people are much more happier because they don't
Right.
have this pressure so much. And maybe they are not even going for tuitions. I mean, the children may not be going for tuition, but they do well because they have the time and space, because they are not pressured to take all those coaching, extra coaching hours and etc. So they have time for themselves, to give that time to read, accumulate what they have studied, and then they're able to have good grades even from the villages. But in the city life, people are consuming that they have to become a millionaire. They have the next day they have to earn so much money by this time, and the dollar and the rupee sign is right in front of their two eyes. And that's why that the assumption is wrong. They have to move away from this assumption and start living a life, start living a good life, and understand that money isn't everything. Life is more important because we have been given this life for us to experience both physical and spiritual. So, this is one lifetime chance for you to come. We don't need to take another lifetime just to come back and repay our karma. No, we can get it done now. We can become like Swami Vivekananda. Like in the US, there was they call him a sleeping prophet. His name is Edgar Casey. He
Okay.
reads Bible every single day. He he used to do readings, and he used to give good advices for the people, regarding health, uh, you know psychological perspective, etc. So we can become like him too, and we can become like Buddha. It's just that you have to give that time. If if they can become at that level, we can too. I think that will be my advice to people. It's not that if they say no time and that's it, they've taken that time away from their life. Time is what we make of it. Our creation happens in that time and space when we do that reflection, that introspection, a little bit of breathing exercises, not the physical, not necessarily you have to go to the gym. Is another, a fad, I would say, has become a trend or a lifestyle. But in those days, if you take our ancestors, or our sages or rishis, they don't go and do physical exercises. They are only walking the distance or doing the agriculture stuff, coming back, and then doing their meditation on a daily basis. They are not, you know, doing those physical gym exercises, or building on the muscles and all that. No, right?
No,
So
I also love this idea. I already had this thought that possibly the people in village, the farmers, you know, they every morning going to farm, and then they work entire day in the field, and then at evening when they come, so their work is their meditation, because they're far from the social media, they're far from the comparison. Their entire focus is on growing a crop,
yes,
taking care of the crop from the seed stage to the final stage, which is like itself, and they are also constantly in touch of the nature. It feels like a total time for meditation. They don't need a separate mode of meditation. Hours for themselves.
yeah. I want to touch that when you talked about the seed. Yeah,
Yeah.
when you put the seed, that mustard seed, or whatever seed you want to call it, you put your time there. You're putting that time there and making sure that the seed is growing, and then it's becoming a tree with leaves and branches. And that's actually basically our progression in our life, both physically and spiritually. So we don't have to be in comparison. We don't need to be in the rat race. Just move out from that completely. Once you've learned these foundations, we can come back into the social media and share our knowledge. Not necessary at that time when you don't know anything that is happening. All those consumption that you're taking in is just affecting your life. You think that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go here, I have to, do 100 things. No, if we put top three priorities and put it as a seed, it becomes the tree that we want it to become. And that's
Very
who
true.
we become at the end of the day. Maybe, you become whether you want to become.
Are you saying we are not choosing the right sort of seeds in our life?
Yes, yes, exactly. Because the priorities are different. Because they choose to only go after wealth, but they're not choosing their life. Life means so many things. It's your health. If you don't have a health, good health, how are you going to earn your money? But today, if you see social media is pushing you that you got to earn your money, you got to go get out there and get the job. But there comes a time when people break down from it, get burnt from it. So when you move away from that and realize, you start to realize that you don't need that lifestyle. You just need a life that is sufficient, that is giving you food on the table, you're healthy, and then you're also contributing to the society in different ways. And then that earning that you are taking, some portion goes to the society. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean donation. It means that you're helping somebody buy a lunch, or giving them food, or giving them a shelter, or giving a student an education. You're helping them, or even giving a medical, uh, paying for the medical assistance. So you can do so many things. So if you just keep focusing on building wealth, but forgetting to live the life in the present moment, you're missing the essence of life. Life
And
is,
in fact, yeah.
yeah,
In
life is
fact,
about, a combination of both physical and spiritual.
like I was, also thinking in this line of that probably we all actually long for the so-called resting time in our life or so-called relaxing time in our life. We see this part of the day with our friends, with our family, with our kids, like relatives, the people that we say we love, we live with them, and work we see as a stress, work time we see as a stress, or work life we see as a life that produces the negative energies for us. But then this is another big issue that I always notice, and every one of us notices, especially in the Indian format of the families, uh, that you that the communication is much more difficult in family and friends. The closer you get, the harder the communication. In comparison of the official structure. Because in the work culture, work life, you are clashing on a topic and then you settle it down, and you maybe you just reach an agreement on X thing working in our work type of structure. But we tend to stretch tiny communication or tiny clashes in the family structure, in the friends, in the meeting structure, much more, which creates a gross amount of negative accumulation for us. Government. Why that happens?
Yeah,
Exactly where we must relax. Exactly where we must relieve our tension or stresses from the day. That exactly is where we multiply it.
yeah. So communication is so important in a family. When you don't communicate, there is a problem. When you're not telling the truth, there is a problem. Loyalty is another important factor in the relationship, whether it's parents or whether it's children, husband and wife, and partners. So this loyalty is so important. And communication gap happens when the person is not speaking out the truth or not speaking out the emotions. Most of the people try to hold back because they're afraid that society is going to say something about it. They're so afraid of what other people are thinking rather than what I should provide for my family or
No,
what.
can I course correct it here? Exactly. My point is, it's not even the society, because in terms of society, I can take a risk to say something in order to express my anger or in order to express my disagreement. But in the family, what I'm seeing is an increasing trend of actually keeping silence, because you don't want clashes, because you don't want to live in that. You don't want tiny talks, tiny small issues in the family to actually exaggerate, to actually magnify. So this is the place, this is the part of our life where we must be uh, feeling the most ease in our day. That's exactly where people choose to withdraw from. That's exactly where people choose to stay silent and not communicate, because the more you talk, the things amplifies. Why that happens? Why? Overall, in general families, why this happens?
Yeah, I'll say from energy perspective. When we go
Okay.
out, there are different types of energy out there. That's why it's so important when we come home, we have to cleanse ourselves from that energy. Without cleansing, that energy kind of stay on with you, and that becomes take shape and form within you.
Okay.
So it gets attached to your body. The soul gets attached to your aura, to your body, and it takes form and shape. And you tend to become that element that is not you. So either the individual that is impacted should identify that this is happening to him or her, or the person next to him or someone in the family can identify. But doesn't necessarily mean they have to run to an astrologer to find out what is going on and start doing some puja and this and that. Just there's so many situations that
That's the usual about, actually.
yeah,
If something is clashing in my home, I go outside and see if I have some options. That's
yeah.
exactly the approach.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. I think we can identify when a person is changing behavior. If from a psychological standpoint, we can identify if the person is not the same person anymore by identifying the energy level of that person. That's why it's important that energy should be ridden off when you come home. Uh, Cleansing is so important. Everyday cleansing, washing the face, the hand, and the feet is most important. If let's say you're staying in a cold country or cold places, sometimes you can't take bath if you don't have hot water. Then just washing the face, hand, and feet. These three are important because these are the places where it easily captures the energy into your body. And the eye also is so important to always keep it cleansed. Eye is where you can notice whether someone has negative energy or not, whether there is something going on in that individual. If the energy, when you look at someone's eye, you can tell whether there is a negative energy in that person or not. Someone who is spiritual can obviously identify, but for someone who is not spiritual, maybe it's very difficult to kind of identify, but it's possible. If you keep identifying these aspects, you'll be able to learn the perspective how to deal with it, right? Of course, you don't run to the astrologer for all these things. At home, traditionally, in Indian houses, we use salt. Salt is a great way to cleanse ourselves. You can either take a salt bath or you take the salt in the hand and say certain words to, and just do you just round it around the face and ask the person to spit and just, let it go on a running tap.
Why salt precisely?
Salt is takes absorbs the negative energy very easily. It is a, I would say it's a nature element that exists out there. It is part of five elements, so it's from the earth. It naturally captures the negative energy easily. So you just kind of flush it out, or put it into the running tap, and it just goes away. Um, I'm the other one would be the lime. You can always keep a lime at the altar. Of course, you will say, oh, scientifically the lime changes color and all of that, but no, our ancestors know how to remove that. You just have to place it there, believing that our ancestors, our goddesses are going to cleanse it for us. And then after a couple of days, you can just remove it from your altar and throw it away uh, into the bin. But
I've
nothing.
seen Babas and Pandits actually using water as a main channelizing
Water,
force.
yes. So that is the third one I was going to come to. Water is another element. You just keep the water at the altar or at your desk or your workplace, and then also remove that water the next day, or even while you're sleeping, you can keep the water, because any negative elements it would also absorb. See, water again is another one of the five elements, Panchabhudam.
Now, how should I do this? Because what I do is I always keep water bottle with me in my, on my table. So I
It's
just
always good to keep it like this.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay, in a glass, in
it's
a
a
glass,
glass. Yeah, yeah. Not a
and I
plastic.
should throw it back
Yeah, throw it into the running tap, or
at the end of the day.
put it in the flush it in the toilet as well. You can either do that. But I wouldn't recommend plastics. I would say a glass would be better, because the glass again is made from natural elements as well. So anything that is natural, I would suggest. So these are three ways to do it. I mean, this is something that you can do on a daily basis. But to you, before you go out every day, it's good that you actually do a prayer, or put a protection within you. We call it kavasam in Tamil, and it means that you are creating an aura around you, either a white light or a gold light. You create that aura, say that this is my, I'm seeing a white light around me. Protect me from any negative energy, and keep me safe until I come home. Yeah. It can be any light, white light, green. Green is very rare. Only those who do healing can see that. Sometimes people will see purple aura. That's usually with the crown level. So you naturally you would be able to see white and gold very easily. So just call upon these two lights, and you just create that environment that you are in this protective space when you're moving out and coming in, so that your aura is protected, because our aura field is quite vast. It will grow as you grow gradually from your spiritual level. It will also grow, bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's what I mean by radiating your positivity towards others. Others will start to recognize that you are actually radiating positive energy.
Right.
If I have negative energy, people will also start to realize it's negative energy. When I'm standing close to you, maybe I can also recognize whether you have positive energy or negative energy. As a spiritual person, I can be able to quickly know that you have something within you.
Maybe
So
it's also the spread. Someone else's priority make him behave badly with me, which produces negative energy, negative emotions for me that I bring back to my home, and that it create a clash of my home. It's also a spread. It's also a chain.
yes. So when you are in conversation with somebody, it's always good that um, you don't get into the drama of the day. Yeah, because these are all drama, and you have to learn to detach. As soon as you're finished with that conversation, just detach from that conversation. You're not thinking about it anymore. You're not attached to that conversation anymore. It is very
How
difficult.
do I do that? Shall I tell
Yeah,
myself?
you can just say to yourself, help me detach from this conversation, whatever that conversation you're having, ABCD. Help me detach from this individual, the name. Let's say your name is Gaurav. Help me detach from Gaurav emotionally and physically, so that you are no longer in that drama of that conversation,
Correct, correct.
or whatever that's happening for the day. So when you come home, you're completely.
Right. That's a really good advice, I must say, because if, and I'm just reflecting on what you just said, if I'm not detaching myself consciously out of that drama, what happening is that person is gone, but again that drama is still running in my mind.
Still playing in your
I'm
thought.
processing it, and probably I'm just withdrawing all of the things, all the emotion that I should not withdraw from it.
Yeah. Only when you arrest your mind
Right.
through meditation, because
Correct.
mind is not an organ. So only when you arrest that mind, only your thought and your memory is in existence. Yeah. So you have to arrest those two, that mind completely to zero. And you can achieve that only through meditation. Meditation is very simple. You just have to just close your eyes and believe in yourself that you can, make this mind go away. This mind also plays when you're sleeping, and that's how the dream comes into play. A dream is different from a vision. A dream is happening continuously in the background while you're sleeping, and you can see a lot of, I'm sure when you go into certain contents in mantra, you see people saying, oh, I dreamt this and that, and then something chasing me, or someone chasing me, or coming to do something to me, etc. So when you see that, you can say that, when before, that is why so important before going to bed. It is so important for you to pray and say certain affirmation to protect yourself before going to bed. It's so important. So
Right.
I'll talk about that at the end, how to actually do the proper meditation and technique and breathing exercises that can help
So,
you know
right. But before that, I quickly actually wanted, us a quick, discussion on this social media thing. How I perceived, say 10 years ago, this entire social media thing was actually to increase the togetherness of us all in general. It was a channel to actually bring people together, bring families together, families that are scattered at the different geographic locations. So a tool which was designed, which was meant to bring people together and kill the isolation and make them feel, emotionally attached to each other, has now turned into a tool which actually produces grossly distracted people, grossly lost people, grossly, totally unfocused people. Why do you feel, or how do you feel social media has contributed to this, producing this mass generation of negative energy into all of us?
I would say there are still a lot of groups that are out there that are sharing great contents. I am contributing to some of the groups out
No,
there.
no, what I'm saying is not about a specific content creators, but more about the consumption, from the consumption, side of it, from the
Yeah.
consumption angle actually.
So we have to learn to detach from the social media as well. As I mentioned in the beginning, I when I started my deeper research and spirituality, etc., I started to realize that social media was, eating up my time, and that time is what I put into spirituality. That 2 to 3 hours that I would spend on, for example, I'm just giving an example, not theoretically or practically, but I would spend that 2 to 3 hours in my spirituality. And that time is used very wisely because I'm learning about the scriptures, I'm learning how to do the proper meditation, and through my meditation, I get a lot of revelations and visions from my ancestors. But for a new beginner or who doesn't have this background, that's why they tend to spend so much time in that content and consumption that they get so involved in it and it kind of affects their personality, affects their health, even affects their work, right? Instead of
Or can I just reframe myself? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
Can I
sure.
just reframe myself? The tool which was meant, ideally which was meant to kill the isolation and then make people feel together, has
Networking.
actually turned into a tool of constant surveillance on my family member. Like usually in the era of before the social media, it was my constant choice to go and meet my family members for 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 day, 2 day, and then I come back. So I'm not constantly surveilling or checking note of what they're doing in their life, and I'm not also in constant comparison with them. If what is their financial status, what is my financial status. Do you feel that social media has blurred that line, has blurred that gap between being available and not being constantly being available? And which is why it's escaping the issues?
I think people are misusing the way social media was meant for. Let's put it that way. Social media, like you say, it was meant for networking. It was meant for keeping in touch with friends and family who stays
Correct.
apart.
Correct.
Maybe someone is staying in another country and they want to stay in touch. You can even call them, face video, do, and they have misused it. Instead of using it that way, they constantly seeing where they're going, what they're doing on a daily basis. You tend to see what your friends are doing, but we should not be doing that.
Correct.
Yeah, the people who are posting also should be conscious that is it really necessary to post those kind of contents on a daily basis, what they're doing on a daily basis. But if it is something that is so useful for someone, then I would say that content is okay. But if you're just posting, I've gone here today, I had this food, I had this, I went here with my friends, I met these people. But if it is not giving any value to the person who is absorbing this content, that content doesn't make sense anymore. So that's how the social media has become. Like you say, it's not, I wouldn't say it's blurring or anything, but how we perceive that content to be. Is it worth our time?
True.
Do
True.
we have to spend time on those type of contents? They may post, if the person is posting it because you want the other person to learn about a particular topic, yes, that is well and good. But if you are just posting that I've gone here, gone there, and that creates a lot of pressure, peer pressure, that peer
Peer
pressure,
pressure.
yeah, is again, everybody needs to follow this. And then you have a challenge. Sometimes social media creates this challenge contest. Do this, do a hashtag, and then this trend keeps following, in not just in one media, but social media, it goes in so many platforms. And if, let's say, one media posts certain topic for the day, that topic continues for a whole week, and that whole week everybody consumes the same content across different platforms. It's not
Very
necessary.
good. That's a good observation, actually. So, which is which is exactly what they call the train. So
Yeah.
someone started some train, and this topic, then this is widely discussed among the social media content creators, and at a time, unknowingly, a mass majority of people are consuming the same type of
and
content.
and
That's
it's
really
not only happening in social media. The discussion comes home.
right. Correct.
That
Correct. Correct.
discussion also is happening. Instead of creating a bonding time with your family and children, that conversation is happening among the family too. So essentially that bonding is removed
And
completely.
probably that mass train has also has a wide amount of influence in all those people getting impacted by that conversation, in
Yes.
either in positive side or in the negative sides. It
And
also has the energy.
everybody becomes judgment on that topic too.
Correct.
We have to move away from being in a judgment position. We don't need we don't need to judge certain things. We just have to say, okay, this is the content for the day. That's it. We don't have to judge or comment on it to say that, oh, this is right, wrong, and get involved. Again, that shows we are getting involved and we are not detaching it from it. We can read it, just detach. That's it. But then don't have to bring it home again and discuss the same conversation again and again with your family members.
It
And then,
also has stolen my focus from me actually.
yes,
It's like I'm constantly focused on other people. It's like my individualism is gone totally.
yeah,
And
yes.
it's kind of now becoming the virtue to be able to focus on yourself.
Yeah, if you see, there's so many trends out there. There is a sports trend, there's cruising trend, there's a vegan trend. Where do you stop? You have to
Correct.
put a line to, or put a boundary as to which trend, or do we need to be in the trend trade? No, not
It should be
necessarily.
a conscious choice actually.
Is
If I choose it consciously, then it's me, then it's mine, then it satisfies me. Otherwise, I'm probably into this fear of missing out.
We can
Probably.
post every day. There's nothing wrong in posting every day. Like I myself, sometimes I do post, but I'm posting because these contents will reach out to people who will be reading it and taking it for their good. If it is a good content, you can definitely be spending time on that. But
No, then it actually becomes a choice of individual whether they want to learn from a book or from newspaper.
yes,
So
yes.
that's a wide difference. It then become you must choose what you consume, and when you choose what you consume, probably you're shifting the focus back on yourself. That's
See,
a good
sometimes
advice.
we cannot travel to all the places. Now we
Correct.
are, because of the social media. Recently, you can see a bloom in, content creators posting about temples in India and outside of India. Before this, we don't even know the existence of these temples in these
Correct.
places. Not everybody would know unless you have researched this content, uh, you know, on the internet or through the books that you read, etc. So it is out there. So people are easily connecting to it and understanding about it because of the social media. So there is good to it. There is also bad, very bad, part of the social media,
How
which
do you use it?
is a choice
And
how we choose
yeah, it's
to
how do you
use.
use it's a choice.
Yeah.
And how do you think the my individual vocabulary actually impacts the accumulation of whether I'm going towards the positive mindset building or whether I'm constantly accumulating negative energies in my life? Like the way I talk in every day, the certainty I talk in every day, or the uncertainty which is always visible in my communication. How do you feel our own choice of words? How do I feel that my own way of communication or the drafting of sentences actually make the difference?
Yeah. The sentences always have to be in a positive manner. If, let's say, I give an example, if I say I'm not healthy today, my whole day is going to be feeling low. My whole day is going to be not feeling good. Uh, don't even feel like doing a video today, right? So I should always say I am healthy. My body and soul are healthy. I am good today to do my video. If I say the negative, I'll not be present today. So if I am saying I am healthy, my body and soul are healthy, I can be in a positive manner. So it's a choice of word again. We have to be able to define the word vibrates positivity. Whatever words that you say negatively, it vibrates the negative connotation as well. So the choice of word that we use on a daily basis is so important. If we say anything wrong, we can always retract it back by saying that I didn't mean this words that I meant. Please forgive me, or you can say, cancel these words from me. I did not mean to say these words. Cancel is a lot of meaning to it. It's part of the technique which I'm also teaching in the advanced level. When you cancel it, nothing happens to you, and you'll always be vibrating in a positive level. And of course, energy, frequency, vibration, we spoke about this three terminology before. It's so
Right.
important that we always keep our energy level positive, our vibrations positive, and the frequency is basically three times, three, three, three. When you say it in this frequency manner, in odd numbers, it vibrates just like our musical notes.
Right.
It's vibrating the positive note. So when somebody is listening to it, it gives you positivity. But if you sing certain notes that are not vibrating with your frequency, which is your soul, you will know that that music is not good for you. Immediately you will know it from your soul level. So that's why the soul is so important, that has to be awakened. So the word is so important. Every day you have to speak very positively. Even if, let's say, you are going to work, if you say, oh, I don't feel like going to work that day, that whole day at workplace will be not so good for you. You're fighting with your people, etc. So we don't need that kind of energy. So we can always say that, oh, I'm so happy to go to work today. I am going to achieve couple of things today. These are my goals for the day, and I want to achieve them, and then come back home and reflect on it. Always give time. We have to give time to ourselves. If not us, nobody else is going to give time to ourselves.
Like I have gradually learned to to change the way I talk to my daughter. For example, instead of asking her to stop doing something, it's my gradual reflections and understanding. It's better to give her a different choice that probably she loved doing. For example, instead of asking her to stop viewing the mobile, what I ought to ask her is, let's start drawing. Can we draw something? Can we do the drawing, or maybe can we go and play some cricket, maybe badminton? And that actually has a very different type of
Yes,
response from her.
yes,
So,
because you've just touched on her psychology,
right,
right? When you say don't do it, the more they want to do the wrong thing. But
right.
when you say, okay, let's do drawing or let's go cycling together, it creates that positive ambience for her, that yeah, my
And
dad.
the difference is, I would really tell you very honestly, the difference is like black and white. The
Yes,
moment I say don't watch the YouTube, maybe the YouTube kids should watch, her age, and she resists. She say no, I will watch. But the moment I say go, let's do some drawing, maybe let's go play cricket. She immediately turns off the mobile phone and she's coming
yeah.
with me. So that's a black and white type of response, immediate response.
You're correct, because you're removing her from consuming the social media, which is very good what you're doing. And at the same time, you are actually focusing on her creativity, because when you go into the physical environment, going out, doing things like drawing, singing, playing musical instruments, these are creativity that exists within us, which we need to bring it out. We need to identify what is their talent, their skills that they have, and then build upon, help them build that skills, which will help them in the long term, not necessarily in the early adulthood, but it can also make it happen in the later stage of their life as well. So it's a choice. They can do it immediately if the parent is identifying their right skills at the early stage. It's so important. If they don't, then they lose that phase of their life, and then they get lost into the job environment, and then getting into the later stage, realizing that this is not the passion that they like to do. Life is about doing things that you love to do. Being passionate about it. Only when you're passionate, then things, creativity keeps flowing. Your energy keeps flowing into that creativity that you're putting out there. Creativity is a masterpiece that you create in that space that you are in.
Lastly, help us with some of the meditation methods that you can advise, like something that people can do quickly, especially those who go who are into their 9 to 5 jobs. They don't have much time. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, to restore to their natural self, what they can do.
Yeah. A good
Sorry.
way to cleanse the negative energy is to take the breathing exercise first. When they come home after taking the bath, I would say, because cleansing from the physical aura is by cleansing with the water. So taking the bath is important. The next step is the breathing exercise, I would say. It's very simple, but yet it comes naturally, gradually when you do it. You have to breathe from your stomach, keep the breathing going and just release it out through your mouth. When you release it through the mouth, you're actually essentially cleansing from the bottom to your whole body. So the whole body, you know, goes out. Whatever that is within your body comes out through your breath. So essentially, you're cleansing your body all the way. So it will help you get through that. So just from the bottom, if you're following the chakra method and all, it comes from your muladhara, which is your bottom, your root chakra, essentially. From the root chakra, you just take the breath from there. As in from your stomach, it comes. You're not really going that level, but from your stomach it comes, and then your stomach also will go in as you take the breathing, and then you just release. And I'll show it without speaking. Just release it out. And then you will see every day when you practice this, you will realize that a lot of cleansing is happening within you. All the negativity that is existing inside of you, all the baggages that were there from your past, your present, everything will get removed. That is one part. And especially for those going for work, we always use a lot of communications, right? So this part gets always, a lot of negativity stays here. So one way is to take a deep breath, and then you move your, without moving your shoulder, move your head, move up also, move down, sideways, and then release your breath. But the breath has to be held all the way. So it,
No, no, can you just tell this one? Let me
yes,
just do it with you.
yeah. When you breathe out, actually it's
You
going
know, I
deep.
have to hold the breath
Yeah,
from
breath.
when I'm doing this entire
Some
thing, right?
people actually teach you to leave the breath after coming back to the middle position is not required. If
Okay,
you
okay.
can keep your breath until you finish that, from your right to your left, to your upper portion, to your bottom portion, and then to your sides, come back and then just release it. This part of energy will get released. Whatever that was there in your communication, your throat chakra will just get seized off from there. So whatever you were carrying back from your work, from outside, all those conversation will get just removed completely. I'll show it once again. I'm breathing out through my mouth, but when I'm breathing out, I can also feel it's going to all the way to my stomach and to my root chakra. So essentially, it's also cleansing another way, all the way up and down. Yeah, it's doing that. Another method is, of course,
This you suggest to do after I come back from work, home. It's a quick way to do this.
do another one more time. You want me to
No,
do?
no, I'm just understanding the impact of it.
Impact of doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it gets your energy, negative energy that is sitting here in your throat chakra gets removed immediately. Whatever baggages you brought back from outside gets removed.
Okay.
Anything that got attached to you from a communication perspective also gets removed.
So my communication purifies when I'm in home.
Your communication gets improved as well. You speak better. If
Okay.
you're fearing, for those who fear to speak or do public speaking or even get into a face video, they
Okay.
can practice this because it helps them to build up the confidence as well. So it's
Okay.
another way for those who fear to appear in public. So this is a good way. The third one is, of course, the deeper version is the meditation. So
Yes.
the third point is basically on the meditation. It's so important that you have to spend at least 10 minutes if you can't do 20 minutes. 10 minutes help you to relax from everything that has happened for the day. Just close your eyes and let anything that goes through you, just whatever that's coming to your mind for now, because you still have mind. So let that pass through. When you have arrested your mind, you will not have those things coming to you anymore. You will start to see things that will be revealed to you for your future. A lot of revelations will come to you. A lot of true things will, a lot of truth will come to you. You'll start to see the truth, and all those wrong things will just drop off. So, as an, I would say, it's lifting of the veil, right? Right now, we are just all blinded by what is happening in the world, social media, this and that. It's all thrown into us. When you start meditating, all this will move away from you. And before getting into meditation, it's good to do those deep breathings also. Do three times, three times, three times, nine, and then get into meditation. And before getting into meditation also, after this breathing, you can do some affirmations. Ask your divine to help you protect, because when you get into meditation, a lot of negativity will also start appearing. It might create some you might feel like a lot of things happening to you, but actually it's not. You just have to detach from it also. So you can say certain affirmations like your divine, let's say your divine is Shiva. Then you say, Shiva, help protect me before I get into meditation, keep me safe, and help me come out of meditation safely. These are very simple affirmations that you can say. Whatever you feel like, just talk to your divine as though you're talking to a friend. You don't have to fear anything. And then you go into meditation. And when you have difficulty in focusing, count from 10 to 0.
Okay.
Or think that you are in a lift and you count 10 to 0. You know, like as though you're coming from top to, to the ground level, and you feel like you're already in that space. You have to come in that meditation state, and then you will feel a lot of bliss, peace. Peace is what is so important to each one of us. When you are at peace, nothing else comes in between, right? So when you finish your meditation, just open, and of course always thank your divine for keeping you protected. You can say, Shiva, keep me thank you for protecting me, and thank you for showing me what I needed to know today. Something like that.
Lastly, do you also have some specific programs to coach people for those who want to improve their communication within the family, or those who are suffering from family issues, family
Yes.
clashes, how to
Yes.
improve their individual communication within the family in corporate structure, corporate format, and in general to restore back themselves to the roles.
Yes,
Do you have any programs from this?
I do have advanced courses for, or even basic courses for helping people come, get through situations, whether it's school, whether it's your family relationship issues. I do have those courses. It's very simple techniques that I can teach at a basic level. What I've just shared with you right now is very simple technique, which I call it
Okay.
basic. But when you
Okay.
get into advanced, there are a lot more things that you have to start get reading of, like helping you completely detach from physical, emotional. You can be in the physical environment, but not physically there. As in, you know, that means you are not carrying, just like the explanation you gave, you're with that person, but when you come out from that conversation, you're completely out of that conversation. But how you do that? All these through meditation. You you tend to progress in your meditation, and then that comes naturally to you in your awakened state. You don't need to be in a meditation state at
And
all.
is this program different from the common advices that we see on YouTube, like
Yes,
the general
definitely.
meditation, like Vipassana? Is it
Yeah,
different from that?
and should never have any music as well, because that is interrupting your meditation. because then
Okay.
you'll be focusing on what the person is describing you to do it and all that. I have put out some podcasts, but after listening to the podcast, you get into your meditation. Write down what are the things you have to follow, but you don't need to listen to it and then follow during listening to the podcast, because then you lose the essence. Maybe one two times you can practice it, but after that you have to let go of any music and any listening to the podcast, etc., and start focusing on actual
Great.
state of awareness. Yeah.
Great. Great. So thank you very much, Yash, today for such a lengthy and in-depth discussion on helping people restore to self at the end of the day, every day. This was wonderful communication, wonderful conversation actually, which actually I feel like I can draw a lot of things from this also, and I'm sure a lot of people actually find it very useful. Your advices, general advices, and the breathing technique that you mentioned. And I feel people will actually find it more useful to practice this, this simple act of wanting to restore to themselves every day, because at times the entire difference is the first step. If you want to do it or you do not want to do it.
Yes.
So thank you very much for your time today, and hope to discuss another discussion on the topic with you sometime.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this session. I hope everybody will be now realizing that they shouldn't be consuming any, negative, content, negative
Right.
words. They should not be speaking negative words at all, and start realizing all this at an early stage. You can address it and start looking at life more positively, and have a fulfilling life. Thank you very much.
Okay.